Welcome back, everybody. We've got Shill Gates here today. He's newer to the HEX and PulseChain community, but he's been in crypto for a long time, and he's been interacting with us a lot. And it's good to have somewhat of an outsider's perspective. So thanks for coming here, Mr. Shill Gates. And let's just talk about how you got into the space in the first place, and then what attracted you over to the PulseChain neck of the woods.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I actually, before we even interacted or met, I had went like when trying to educate myself, I actually came across some of your videos and I realized that you made a lot of great content and you actually kind of helped me on my journey. So it was really cool when you reached out. We're like, hey, let's get together and do a thing. So I'm happy
Yeah.
to be here.
Well, it's great to hear. I mean, I appreciate that. And yeah, it's new. It's not new to have people on board, but it's new to have someone that's so like vocal that's already in the community that wasn't kind of already chosen a team. A lot of people get into crypto and they pick their team. Like I've picked my team, obviously, Team Pulse Chain all the way. But it's good that you have an open mind and you've got like a pretty good following on Twitter. Typically, I think you do paid promotion, but this whole Hex thing, you're not getting paid for it as far as I understand, right?
No, not at all. It's all been organic. And like here's the thing, right? I've always been kind of team agnostic. Like I don't pick one team and own like I'm not a maximalist by any stretch. I invest in everything. I'm here to make money. I make no secret of that. I think a lot of other people are as well. If you're here for the tech and all the back end stuff too, that's great. But I've never been like kind of pigeonholed into one thing. So I'm always open to exploring new chains and new tokens and stuff like that. So for me, when I've known about Hex for a long time. I wasn't as familiar with PulseChain. Um, but obviously I was in the community. I've been in the community on Twitter since like 2015, 16, and I've been in crypto as a whole since 2014. So like I watched the whole Hex explosion happen and I kind of missed the boat on that. But at the same time, I never was one of the detractors. I just was sidelined because I missed out. And I guess I kind of lost track of what was going on because I had a lot of other things going on. And you guys were like quietly building this army, like under the surface that I was unaware of. And I didn't realize, like, I remember Richard saying he was going to fork ETH, but I kind of like never followed up on what happened after that. I think it took a little while for him to get it done. So some people kind of forgot about it. And now that I see what's been created since Hexologist onboarded me, I've just been so impressed, and it gives me vibes of like the early days of Ethereum because I was there for when all that started, and like it really makes me feel like this sense of nostalgia, but also this sense of like uh just that the sky could be the limit for this because there's so many opportunities to build on Pulse Chain and it offers a better service than Ethereum.
Yeah, it's like as close as you can get to Ethereum, but just cheaper and faster. And the world's largest airdrop thing, of course, that's kind of a marketing ploy. You probably figured that out. I like that you've been just figuring everything out so quickly, it seems. You're like, you just got here and you're like, wait a second, like it all just clicked. And now you're already kind of forwarding that message. And I saw even like you were in a Twitter spaces and there was a hater and you were the one that like shut him down with just facts and logic and stuff. So I just it's a breath of fresh air. It's nice to see people just holding it down for Pulse Chain. So appreciate what you've done so far.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I would say like the community generally has been very welcoming and supportive. And I think that that has also been a major factor in me becoming so passionate about it. Like if I just posted about it and there wasn't this swarm of people like saying, hey, welcome, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know if I would talk about it as much after that. And that's not like an engagement thing for me, but it would be with anything in life. Like if you're not being supported in this, like I feel like it doesn't there's not like a two-way street there. Whereas for me, like I feel like one of the biggest assets of Pulse Chain is the community and their passion because that's what helps promote this thing. Like I mean, I know you see it on Twitter. Like anytime there's like a raid on a post, like the comments are just all PulseChain people, and like that's impressive. And I feel like that converts people, or at the very least, it makes people look into it more.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's very special to be a part of, feeling like we're on the ground floor. I know you said you felt like you missed out on the first round of Hex, and I'm sure a lot of people felt like that, and I'm sure even more people like weren't able to keep an open mind, and a lot of people even doubled down on their hate, and they said, "Oh, Pulse Chain's never going to launch," or Richard ran away, and all, making up all these
But
stories about Richard being some bad guy. But I think when you actually see what's happening and what he built, you can't deny it. So it's good that you're able to
right,
like, yeah, does not have your mind so blindsided. Because I mean, it does feel like we're in the early days of Ethereum. Like this is a community like nothing else, and all the opportunity that's here. It's there's always going to be some turds in the punch bowl, right? Like there's always going to be like
absolutely.
10% of the people out there just trolls or haters or even just toxicity within the community. But for the most part, yeah, if people get positive engagement, that's how the world works. Like if you're just people just want to make sure like when they're if they're gonna pick an environment to build in, or if they're gonna build a project or talk about something, they just want to make sure that the lights are on at home and that people are there and that they're not just screaming into the void, because there's a lot of these coins that they don't capture the attention on a long time frame, right?
Right. And that's like one thing that I kind of wanted to segue into. Like, I'm not here to promote or shill anything, but being a marketer and being what some would say is a quote unquote influencer, I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of these companies behind the scenes, and they're kind of pitching me on their projects, desiring for promotion. But like a lot of the stuff that they're building is pretty cool, and it's exciting because like I kind of get to learn these things on the back end that maybe a regular hex supporter wouldn't, because I've spent hours on the phone with multiple companies at this point now, and I'm kind of just learning like what these projects are building and what their goals are, and like it's really exciting.
Are you talking about projects on Pulse Chain or just in general?
Yes, yeah, on post chain.
Wow. So what's caught your eye? I mean, what's on your radar in this ecosystem?
So right now, most of the projects that have reached out have been to collaborate with me. I would say personally, like investment wise, I haven't necessarily moved outside of the Richard Hart ecosystem yet. Like, I'm still kinda getting my feet wet and learning. So, like,
Mhm.
when I always tell people when I do my marketing and promotion, it's never my opinion, right? It's always based on just, like, an advertisement. Like, I'm shining a light on something that exists that I've vetted and believe has potential, but it's not something that I'm saying to invest all of your money in. It's more just spreading awareness.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's good to be slow with your financial decisions. I mean, I've obviously aped in pretty heavily to Pulse Chain, Hex, INC, and PulseX, and everybody knows
Yeah,
those are the core coins on Pulse Chain. But I mean, slowly over time, I've been learning about these new other ecosystems like UFO, or like even some meme coins out there like that are worth an honorable mention, like Teddy Bear and all that. I don't really invest in too many meme coins, but there are some that stick out.
I
Diamond and all these
agree.
other things.
I'm
And then
actually doing a interview with UFO in less than a week. I'm going to be interviewing the founder, and he's going to be explaining the project to me live for everybody to hear. And I think that's a really cool way of getting the word out. Like, you're able to just discuss topics and things with the actual person that's creating this, and it gives a lot of authenticity and exposure to the project. Because I think a lot of times in crypto, some of these projects, they're either not doxed or they're not willing to be public, and that kind of creates this atmosphere of shadiness. So I like the projects that are willing to come on and discuss what they're building.
yeah, I think we've got this ethos in Pulse Chain. You know this firsthand, right? We've got like such an allergic reaction to anybody that might be a potential scammer, and
It's
sometimes we go a
hard.
little, overboard.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm saying. It's hard because like I understand that pain and that paranoia, because it like the one thing I keep trying to tell people that are like Pulse Chain only, like this isn't unique to Pulse Chain. This is the crypto community as a whole. every chain has scammers, every chain has bad actors, and it's something you absolutely have to watch out for. But at the same time, you're kind of walking a tightrope, because when you get somebody like me coming in and you start attacking me and accusing me of being one of those people, it really turns people off and makes them be like, oh, well, fuck these guys. Like, I was just trying to be authentic and organic, and you know what I mean? Like, it's a
I
fine
know.
line to walk, because you don't want to be scaring people off.
Well, you know what they say, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, or
Yeah,
no good deed goes unpunished. I like that one too.
yeah,
But no, it's cool, man. I think it's like the immune system, right? Of hacks. It's because we've had people come in here and like invent some scam project and shill, and then just like take everyone's money and run away with it. And we hate to see that happening. And so I'd say if that's happening out there, try to be a little forgiving or see where people are coming from, which you are obviously. And but it is hard because who knows, right? It's not often that people will come in and actually talk like on screen or on camera though. Like a lot of these, like we're very wary about anonymous developers or people coming in with a new project. And so if someone just got here, you know, and they have a new meme coin or some new thing, and they just showed
right.
up a month or two ago, like don't just ape into all this stuff, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And it's all about education and protecting yourself. But like the stance that I've been coming from is that I haven't been promoting anything other than things that I've been honest about being paid to promote. I don't have a coin or a token or a project or anything like that. And I don't have any plans. But the one thing that I do say to people is, like, that doesn't mean in the future I might not come across an idea to where I would create something, and that should be celebrated as long as it's organic and helping the community. But as
Yeah,
of right now, I don't have any plans. But you guys should all want people to build on PulseChain. Like,
right. And we
that's how
do,
you
obviously
grow.
we do. And at the same time, on the other side of that argument, we should be critical, not like hateful, but like be very, very critical. Because what a lot of people do is like they'll just have some generic, subpar, you know, stupid thing that maybe it's just not a great idea. Maybe they're not a scammer, but it's just like a lame idea. So we should encourage people to build, but also to innovate new and cool stuff, or at least
Right.
copy, you know, something that already has a track record of working. We've got a
Right.
lot of
Like,
like DeFi protocols here that are forked from like Aave or like GMX or Balancer, and we know those are valuable, you know, and useful in terms of utility. So that's another option as well.
well, one thing that I really want to build, I only want to build it because I want to see it built, but I don't believe that I have the capability to do this. Like, I'm not a developer and I don't currently know any, but I'm putting this out there to maybe inspire somebody else to build it. Um, on Solana, which I've been kind of heavy into over the past year or so. They have these DEX trading tools called PulseX, and the other one is called Photon. And basically, what it is they're swaps, but they have a lot of trading tools that traditional exchanges have. And it makes it really easy for people like me to get in and out of positions, because I'm a trader first. Like, I started as a miner and then I became a chartist and a trader, and I'm also an investor, a consultant, and a marketer. So like, but on the trading front, like the swaps just are terrible. And that's across the board. It's not specific to post chain. It's just it's not a good way to trade. You don't have stop losses, you don't have limit orders for the most part. Like, it's very rudimentary. And I would love to see somebody build trading tools for traders, because I feel like that would help onboard a lot of new people.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that a lot of people get into crypto wanting to be a trader. Me personally, I've like migrated to just being a hodler, right? Over after
Right.
losing so much money and realizing that, you know, if it's not your full-time job, you know, 99% of people are going to lose. But there are a lot of people that are actively looking at that. And I know within the Pulse ecosystem, you've got like that secret spy kingdom guy has made a lot of cool bots about like here's when a new token launches from a known deployer, and even a sniper bot and stuff like that. Or you've even got I think it was HODLnomics is talking about this bullseye bot, which might also just be a like a sniper bot. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, I mean, new interfaces. We've got Fame.io, which is like leverage trading, but not a lot of people have started using that yet. But sure, there's plenty of opportunity, like you said.
Well, that's it goes with what I'm saying. Like the more you build this out, the more people you can onboard. Just because, I wouldn't recommend most people try day trading, but there are a lot of day traders in crypto and they run a lot of volume through coins that they like to trade. So if you created these tools for them to use, they would be onboarded and come here because they'd see opportunity to trade these assets.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, so other than like trading bots, like what else do you want to see like that you see on stuff like Solana that you wish was on Pulse Chain?
Solana's tough because I would look more towards ETH than
Yeah.
Solana. Solana has kind of been more of like meme coin central these days. Like there's I'm sure there's cool things being built on Solana, but you don't hear about them as much. Like most of what you hear about Solana is the meme coin gold rush. But in terms of ETH, oh man, off the top of my head, like nothing comes to mind, but there've been a lot of cool things that have been built on ETH that I feel like have been held back by the gas fees.
Mm.
And that's the benefit of PulseChain is it's a better Ethereum and the only real gripe I have with Ethereum is the gas fees. So removing that is what gives PulseChain the advantage. And I think that it's where people should be building now.
Yeah, I mean, Pulse Chain is basically horizontal scaling for Ethereum. Richard's philosophy was if if the gas station gets too full on the corner, you build another gas station. You don't try to make the existing one any bigger. And
Right.
Ethereum will eventually fix its fee issues, but for the next couple of years, we've got Pulse Chain, which is basically a fresh start. So for anybody feeling that they might be late to the party, you got to realize like Pulse Chain is cycle one, PulseX, even HEX that launched on Pulse Chain, like they all technically are cycle one and haven't really seen a pump yet at all. I mean, they're still below sacrifice prices. So yes, we're maybe a year and 6 months in, a year and 8 months in, but at the same time, you are still early. Like if you just look judging by the price chart. So this thing is ready to explode. I just want to stress that for any new people, right?
Here's the thing, right? I'm not providing financial advice. Like past results are not indicators of future results. But if you look at the hex chart, the original Ethereum hex chart, you see the potential. Like you see just how high it went. So that obviously means it could presumably go that high again, if not higher. And, that's something to get really excited about because we are in a bull market. And I do believe that Richard Hart assets are criminally undervalued right now, considering what they offer. And I think a lot of that, we can get into this, has to do with his SEC case. Like, I think some people are scared to touch it, including like centralized exchanges, which I've been trying to push for to get listed. And I think once that case is resolved, especially if it's in his favor, that's going to cause a major influx of volume and obviously a much higher price point. We just saw the same thing happen with XRP.
Yeah, this is round two for Hex. This is Hex relaunching on Pulse Chain, and the sky's the limit. But yeah, people do get scared of the SEC, even knowing that there's a probable dismissal, whether it's now or a year from now. That's kind of as much insider info as I can possibly have. I mean, nothing is a guarantee, right? But when you realize the quality of his lawyers and you realize like how much money and drive that he has to beat this thing, I don't think he wants to settle at all. Even though that would also be good because then as long as the lawsuit's gone, in my opinion, is good.
Over,
But
yeah.
he's not the kind of guy that he wants to win, right? Richard is
Yeah.
like, Richard, right? You've seen some of his content,
Well,
so
yeah, I mean, winning is a great marketing tool, right? Like
yep.
even if he settles, it doesn't look as good as if he wins. And Richard knows marketing very well. Like that's the one thing that always makes me laugh is, some people in this community are very against marketing, and Richard is one of the best marketers I've ever seen. And he did it in a way that made it seem like he wasn't using influencers, but he was the influencer. So it was like he was doing this outrage stuff on purpose to spread awareness about his product, which I thought was genius.
I thought it was good. It obviously mathematically, right? Let's say it got him from 100,000 followers to 300,000 followers. And even if half of
Right,
those followers hate you, the other half like you. And so that's still, you
right.
still doubled your followers that like you. I mean, I did find it distasteful. And I talked to a lot of people in real life that didn't like him walking out of a store with a bunch of Gucci bags. And I understand how it
See,
looks like a scammer, but
I think for me, because like maybe I get what you're saying for people like maybe not you, but people that didn't have like insider knowledge of how stuff like this works. But for me, like I just thought it as another marketer, I thought it was hilarious because I knew the game he was playing and
yep.
just seeing the silliness of those photos, like it just made me laugh.
I mean, it was very obvious to me as well, and to anybody in the community. Even though some people still had like an allergic reaction to it, but it's funny. Like 2 years later, I'm talking to people in real life, and because they haven't seen Richard in about 2 years on screen, he's been tweeting, but he's not on screen. The last thing they remember is they always bring up that shopping bag video because it was so viral.
Yeah. And that's what like here's what I always tell people, right? When I talk to companies, when I talk to investors, like the main driver of crypto success is hype. And that includes virality, right? So if you can get your project to build hype around it or go viral, that's what ultimately leads to success because you could have the best project on paper in the world, but if nobody knows about it, it's not going to go anywhere.
Dude, that's a tale as old as time. I mean, people build the awesome tech, like this groundbreaking cool tech, and then they suck at marketing. And you need to have
Yep.
both. I mean, we've got a solid product. It's decentralized. It can't be shut off. The SEC can't shut it off. Nobody can turn this thing off, not even Richard, right? Even if Richard got hit by a bus, like all this stuff will keep working. So that's good. It's a solid foundation. But on top of that, you need awareness. And so I feel like I'm calling it kind of a community takeover since he's been gone from streaming, but I do believe he'll be
Yeah.
back when he's legally able to.
I agree, and I think that along with the potential of him winning, which the other thing we didn't discuss is the political landscape now is much more favorable to him. Like before, Gary was there and there was kind of this anti-crypto sentiment, but I think now the tides have really shifted, and I think that also goes in his favor. And the amount of celebration and just joy that will come from him winning and then being able to be live again, I think could really just send us straight to the moon.
It's beautiful to think about. It makes me euphoric just thinking about it. I feel like it's inevitable. It's just a matter of when, not if. So I'm ready
Yeah.
to hold until I'm holding this thing for years, like whether people want to get on board or not. But I just think there's so many good potential scenarios, and not only him winning, but what if a little bit of that ETH money comes in, or what if this PDI thing? I don't, nobody really knows. Even Binance. What do you think about this whole Binance thing?
So here's the thing, right? I made a post about this, and I think it's very interesting. Like my gut is telling me something's going on,
Right.
but I don't have any like true receipts to prove it. It's more just kind of like putting the pieces together. But it seems, especially based off Richard's tweet about writing to CZ in prison, that's the one that really, like, to me, kind of solidifies that there might be a relationship there now.
It would have been a great move. I mean, they've both done so much for crypto. I mean, talk all the shit about CZ that you want to, but he built the world's most popular crypto exchange, not only for the USA but the world. And then he built his own chain too. So you could tell some part of him also wants people to go on chain, and wants to address the people that hold their own private keys, with BNB. And so, and Richard, I think, can respect that. I'd love if they were, had some kind of a deal worked out. Maybe when the case gets dropped, maybe we see it listed there. Um, it's the irony of centralized exchanges is like you have to have two ideas in your head at the same time. One is, yes, not your keys, not your coins. Withdraw your coins off the exchange. But two is that the exchange is a useful on ramp and it's a
Yes,
useful advertisement. And I mean, Binance has millions of users. So you
yes.
want to meet them where they're at. And you also want them to get their keys off of there and go do everything the right way.
Well, there's a viral video that was just going around last night of Silicone. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's a pretty big influencer and he's been around since I have. Like he's been around a long time. And somebody asked him to chart PLS and he goes, "What's PLS? It's not even on Binance."
Oh,
Like
I saw that clip. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So like
So
that
funny.
that's a real thing though. Like, you know, even though he's ignorant to it, like a lot of other people are too because it's not on Binance. And with something like Binance or another major centralized exchange listing, you get this sense of credibility even though we kind of as a community are against centralization, right? So, yes, not your keys, not your crypto. Do not trust these exchanges. Don't keep your money on them. You know, we can see things happen like FTX or back in my earlier days, Cryptopia or Mount Gox. But like,
Quadriga. I mean,
right. But they
yeah.
do serve a purpose, right? Like there is a lot of good that they do for adoption and for onboarding and for making it easier to trade these assets. So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, just like a lot of things in crypto. And I don't understand a complete anti-centralized exchange mentality.
People want it black or white, you know, and it's very much it's like both at the same time.
Yeah. So I mean I've been pushing for that behind the scenes. I have a lot of contacts with a lot of these exchanges. I haven't reached out to any of the big ones because I know that their legal team won't approve it right now due to the SEC.
Yeah.
But I've been working on some of like the mid-tier ones, just trying to get one listing done because I feel like that would be beneficial for the community to have somewhere to go and trade this asset with decent liquidity and the
Yeah.
proper trading tools.
Well, we've got you know, I was a part of leading the charge on getting an MEXC listing a couple months ago. So we are on MEXC, but that's not available
Yeah,
in the USA.
and there I can vouch for them to some degree. I would never vouch fully for any exchange, but I've been using them for years, and I think, you know, they have a okay product. It's not a tier 1 exchange by any means, but they do have some credibility, and they've been around for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no KYC apparently as well from what I hear, but again, I haven't used them. I'm not able to, but I hear a
They
lot of people.
they Yeah, I haven't used it in a while because they're kind of cracking down, and that's another issue that I've seen is a lot of these exchanges that used to be able like open to US users in like a gray area have kind of started clamping down on restricting access from places like the United States. But with Trump in office now and the US looking to be very pro crypto, maybe some of these regulations can be eased and maybe we'll start to gain access to these platforms again. We don't know.
I see things going very well with the new administration. I mean, look, Trump is a crypto founder.
Yeah,
Trump
that's
has
what
his own coin
I
and his
said that
team.
dude, I said that on another podcast I did. I was like, the president of the United States has his own NFT that he sold, and he has a hoard of Ethereum. Like that's insane.
Yeah, they just bought $5 million of ETH, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then all the money that he raised. I don't know if they ever converted that or not, but he raised a bunch from the NFT sales.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
the
the
NFT
new
sales.
coin
Sorry?
and then the new coin he just did too. But the NFT, that thing was big. Like I remember I made a bunch of money off that.
I wish I invested because I didn't realize how viral of a name Trump is. Like anything with his name on it, it doesn't matter. It could be the stupidest thing in the world. People are going to ape into it because he's like the most talked about man in the world.
And that goes back to what I was saying about hype. Hype and
Mhm.
visibility. Trump has a lot of hype around him. He's a very visible person. That's part of the reason why he won the presidency because everybody talks about him. He's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean his team, himself, like his PR team, all the stunts he pulled, like the McDonald's thing, like he just gets it, and I think that was something that it was just almost inevitable. But you've been around in crypto since what, like 10 years now, since 2014.
Yeah, 2014 is when I like first kind of started getting my feet wet, but I really like locked in once I started mining Ethereum. I was looking for ways to make passive income. I stumbled across a YouTube video. I don't remember whose it was, and it was like use your GPU. And I had just built like this super beefy editing computer, so I started playing around with the GPU on that. I think it was a GTX 1080 at the time, and I started seeing like the numbers that I was able to make per day, and I was like, wow, if I just scale this, like I could make a decent amount of income every day. So I built like my own mining farm and leveraged credit cards to buy a bunch of GPUs, and I had like this giant mining farm at my house, and it was producing so much heat and stuff. But that is ultimately what like led me to coming onto Twitter and kind of trying to stay up with all the news in crypto. And I just made my name Shill Gates because I thought it was funny, and I ended up kind of blowing up. Like
The picture's
a lot of
hilarious.
thank you. Yeah, I've had a couple different ones. A lot of people don't know this is my second account. My first account I had almost 50,000 followers on, and it ended up getting terminated by the old Twitter regime. So my
Wow.
original account,
What'd
yeah,
you
my
do?
original, I guess just talking shit or something, or had the wrong politics. I don't know. It was pretty easy to get suspended back in those days. So my
Yeah,
original
thank you,
account,
Elon.
yeah, right. Now I've been trying to get mine back, but I can't remember the password, but I think I'm just gonna stick with this one now.
I
But
mean, you're
yeah,
almost back. You got 28K, so, like, you'll be back at 50
yeah,
in no time.
right. Yeah, so I mean, like a lot of my friends that I came up with now have like 100, 300K, and I just look, I'm like, damn, like that probably would have been me too. But like I've never been the one that really cares that much about follower counts. It's just it's kind of cool, like having the recognition of just being here for 10 years. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You got a 2014 account, I mean, or 20 what is it, 2015? So it's,
Yeah, my this account's 2015.
but the thing is, it's not about being an attention whore and getting followers. It's a metric to know how many people you're reaching. Like it is a metric, whether you like it or not. I didn't really set out to be an influencer, but I want to onboard as many people as I can.
Yeah, neither
And
did I.
so you're doing good if you get or you're doing something, if you get a lot of followers and
Well,
if,
that was
if that's
kind of
not
the
growing, that's
shock.
bad.
Yeah, that was kind of a shock to me because I literally only made Twitter. Like I had been real deep into crypto Facebook, and I kept getting banned over there because Facebook was just as bad. But I didn't have like a page. I was just like a guy with my personal profile. So I started coming to Twitter to keep up with the news because I have all these positions now, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And I just made this Shill Gates character just to be funny because I needed a Twitter handle, and I didn't want it to be like Bobby XYZ 10245.
Hmm.
So I customized it and I just started interacting with people. And before you know it, I have 5,000 followers, 10,000, and then it ran all the way up to 50,000. Cause when I came in, it was right at the beginning of the bottom of the new bull run in 2017, which was pretty historic. So,
Hmm.
I think a lot of that helped generate like interest in crypto, and it's what gained me a lot of followers because I was very vocal.
Yeah, I remember that cycle very well. I started in crypto about 2015 as well, but I round tripped the 2017 bubble. But
Oh, me too, dude. I feel like that's a rite of passage
yeah,
almost.
you have to. You got like they say, the first cycle is to learn, the second one's to make money. So
Yeah, I had no idea. Like I knew I'm generally a pretty smart person, and I pick things up pretty quick as you've seen with PulseChain. But like in terms of investing and understanding market cycles and stuff like that, I had no idea. So like when we got up to the top, I just figured it was gonna at least stay there, and like maybe go higher, but also not go much lower. And I didn't realize that we were facing like a 90% sell off and dump, and
yeah,
I lost all the gains that I made. Like I saw stupid money on paper, and I never like realized it.
yeah, and you can yell and scream at people, hey, this is all going to drop 80, 90% again, but some people need to experience it for themselves.
Yep. But
I
it's
mean,
cool now because this is now my third bull market, and I feel like I'm pretty dialed in. And
yeah.
having that experience, it's still hard to figure out when to sell, like when the top is. I think that's the hardest part. But in general, what I tell people when you start seeing silly money, like get out.
Yeah, easier said than done, but so from being in here, what, like 10 years now, I mean, what is the best advice you can tell people, not in terms of I guess trading or strategies of investing, but like shifting back to marketing because you're a marketing guy too.
Yeah. If you are you talking about people that want to potentially get into marketing or
I guess what can you see for the pulse chain community, like what can we do better, or what do you see as a big opportunity for getting the word out there? Because that's something of my personal interest. Like I gravitate towards marketing and onboarding a lot.
So let's look at how I was onboarded because obviously that worked. I made a post about this too. Like Hexologist has followed me for a while. I had no idea he was such a big deal, and I apologize to him all the time now because I'm like, he was this guy that I just always saw in my comments, but I never really investigated further. Like I never clicked on his profile. I never knew he had the amount of followers he did. Like I always just kind of had this fun back and forth with him. And so I made a post about like some of my calls outside of PulseChain because I wasn't posting about any of this at that time. And it was like Tau and Render and Caspa and a bunch of different like mid-tier to high level projects that I thought were going to do well in the bull run. And Hexologist posted why no Hex or PLS. And rather than be negative or anything, my response to him was like, I've never owned any, but I'm willing to learn or something along those lines. And what he did right there was he said, "Give me your PLS wallet," and he sent me. I had to go set it up and figure it out, and he sent me like $30 in PLS. And it was like that more than anything else really onboarded me into the ecosystem because now I hold this asset that I have to go learn about and look at the charts. And you run the risk of somebody selling it right away, but like I still have that pulse chain that he sent me and I've added a lot more to it. So like for me, like especially if it's somebody that's already in crypto, I think a good way to onboard them is by just sending them some.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's a great way to do things. Especially sending them a significant amount. I mean, not sending them like $1. And
Right,
it's not
right, yeah.
you can't expect like if you send someone money, you can't expect that they're going to actually hold it. So maybe it's like a 50-50 chance. They might dump it all, sure, but if they have somewhat of a bigger following, maybe they've been in crypto for a while and they sound smart, they sound like they know what they're talking about. That might be a better way of judging. You don't just want to give $100 to every old Jeet out there, but
Right.
$100 could turn into 1,000, and then all of a sudden, okay, you've been paying attention, but now you saw 10x. I mean, I've seen this with the UFO token, for example. Somebody gave me a tiny bit of that, and it turned into a giant amount of money. And I'm like, wow, these guys
Yeah.
must be doing something right, you know?
Yeah, and I understand that everybody out there can't afford to just be running around handing out $20 to everybody they want to onboard. But as a general rule, I think if there's somebody that you really specifically want to, like, it's worth the investment. But beyond that, I would say just continuing to spread awareness. The way you guys raid these posts and stuff, like, I think as long as you're not doing it in like a know-it-all, like we're better than you type way. I think if it's just generally like, hey, this is awesome. Hey, check this out, stuff like that. Like I think that can be really effective too.
Yeah, you get more flies with honey than vinegar, you know?
Right. And generally the ones that I've seen have been pretty positive. Like one of my favorites is hexologist constantly ratioing people like
It's my
just
favorite, dude.
so like I like stuff like that is incredible because it's done in a positive way, but it also brings awareness. But you also kind of again walking a thin line between like spreading awareness and becoming annoying. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying that he is, but I'm just saying like if you get like too overly enthusiastic about stuff, sometimes that can also turn people off.
right. A little bit of tasteful trolling and lighthearted joking around. I think being funny is a good way to get in and be a reply guy. Not go in and be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, why don't you ever talk about Hex? I mean, that's not gonna make anybody want to look into it
Right.
further.
And,
So
and like awareness, right? So like I have not been paid for this opinion that I'm giving right now. Like neither one of these communities have sent me anything, but two of the meme coins that I constantly see in my mentions are Mog and Peasy. They have a bunch of memes. It's all Pepe and like a cat with viper sunglasses on and stuff like that. And they're
Peasy? How do you spell
everywhere.
that?
Yeah. Peezy.
Let's take a look. This is on
It
Pulse.
Yeah, and it's just really fun. Like they interact with me all the time, and it's like a genuine organic interaction. And I don't even know what their charts look like. Like I just know that I see them every day, and that makes me interested to want to get involved because I see the communities there.
It looks like it's only been out for 2 weeks, and it's not bad. So
Yeah, if anybody goes and looks at all my tweets, like on in the replies, there's Peasy. It's like a picture of like a different version of Pepe with a backwards red hat on. And Mog, I think a lot of people in PulseChain are familiar with. Like they've been around for a little while.
yeah, the Mog one is funny because it's like a copy, but it also still went up. I mean, a lot of the copycats, people like think they don't want the cheap ripoff, but with Mog, it's
Right.
just a beast of its own.
But those are the ones that I see. Like I have no affiliation with any of them, but they're out there grinding and they're in the trenches just reply guying, and that brings it to my awareness. Like they're the ones I'm most aware of. And then of course there's Teddy and all them, and I've seen them in my replies and stuff too. But the two that are pushing the hardest are those ones I just mentioned.
Yeah, being a reply guy is an art form. Like you
Yeah.
said, you don't want to go too far. And you might just be interacting with like a sensitive guy who just blocks you, because I remember there was Lex Friedman back in the day. You know Lex Friedman, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So he's one of the biggest, biggest podcasters out there. And then he wanted to have Richard Hart on his channel. And the Hexicans went a little too hard with the reply guy stuff. And we kept making these thumbnails of, Richard Hart, Lex Friedman, and interview thumbnail. We're like, yo, can't wait to see you on Richard Hart. And we did that so much that he just started blocking all of us because I guess he got
Oh
annoyed.
no.
And then he just never talked about Richard Hart again. So,
Wow. Yeah,
oops.
it's a fine line, and, like, I don't think I could ever be a reply guy. Like, I guess I kinda was in my early days, but, like,
Once you got to start out
nowadays
that way.
yeah, nowadays, it's a grind. Like, when I did it, the community was so small, it was kinda easy to get exposure and to get known, but, like, now these guys are grinding hard, like, they're sweating in the trenches.
I mean, to maintain attention in this attention economy, it's you got to be yelling all the time, come up with creative ways to say different, like basically saying the same thing, but in all these different ways and different perspectives.
Yeah, I think memes. I also started as kind of a meme guy. Like I have a background in Photoshop. I'm basically a professional Photoshopper. So like even my profile picture, like you commented on, like I created that myself. Like I thought it would be funny. I make memes every single day, and I think they're a really good vehicle of promotion.
Nice, man. We got a meme lord in the house, guys.
Well,
Everybody go to
that's how I
T.
started.
That's good. I mean, memes make the world go around these days. Memes are magic. Like they can really convey an idea better than words. So we got two
Absolutely.
Telegram groups. One of them is called t.me/hex memes. And I think even the PulseChain Pepe group makes really good Pepe memes for PulseChain. And I'll always go in there and just grab a couple. But yeah, shout out to all those guys, all the meme factories out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think like even if it's not a meme coin, like even the people that just meme Richard and stuff like that, like I think it's a really good vehicle for promotion.
Oh, there's plenty of Richard content out there.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Some of the ones I see just crack me up. Like and that kind of goes to the outrage marketing thing again, right? Because he created these images that were viral, but now they're also memeable. So now they kind of live on and help push the project forward and awareness forward because there's just so many memeable things.
Exactly. Um, what are you most bullish on, like right now, coming up in Pulse Chain?
So I already said it before.
Oh, the
I
SEC.
think yeah, the SEC that to me is probably the biggest event that I see coming, but also like a lot of these projects that I've been talking to, some of them aren't necessarily reinventing the wheel, but to me, like building on Pulse Chain, as long as it's not a scam, is helping to grow the ecosystem, and I think that's a net positive for Pulse Chain.
Absolutely. More builders. That's all we need at the end of the day. More
And no
marketers. More.
scammers. Yeah, more builders, but no scammers. Like build actual quality projects that are going to be around for a while and reward investors.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We gotta weed them out. So
Well, the sad part is like I said earlier, in crypto as a whole, like you just gotta expect there's gonna be some scammers. It sucks, it's unfortunate, but it's kind of par for the course on any chain, and, it's cool to spread awareness. I think rather than attacking people that haven't done anything wrong yet, it's better to just educate your followers, if you have them, about, uh, just how to be aware of, like, analyzing tokenomics and chain activity and stuff like that to where you can kind of spot a scam once it's released. And it's never going to be perfect. I've been here 10 years. I still get rugged. Like it happens. But especially if you're investing in like these smaller cap, micro cap coins, like you're just going to get rugged. It's part of the game. Like it's part of investing in crypto. But that doesn't make it okay or right. It's just, I think having education behind it on what to look for to make that happen less is best.
Don't buy celebrity coins. That's a pretty easy tip.
Well, yeah, I had a tweet about that with the Hawk Tour girl, and I'm gonna try to censor it a little bit, but I was basically saying like, so you mean the girl that's famous for doing that rug? Like, who could have seen that coming?
That's I mean, I don't want to say you deserved it, but come on, guys. We just do better.
But again, it goes back to what I said about hype. Like, look at the market cap it reached. Even though it did rug, like there was so much hype behind that, even though most people knew it was probably a scam.
The sad part is too, it might even bounce back on some other news. Like if she ends up getting sued or something, and maybe the community
Right.
takes over. Like she's got such a powerful attention somehow. For
Well,
for what? I don't
that's
really know. But
That's what's funny because like you were there for BitConnect and all that, and they had the BCC token, right? And when BitConnect disappeared, BCC was still getting traded and pumping, and it didn't go back up to where it used to be, but there was still even FTX, FTT was still having pumps, and like I think it's still listed somewhere. It might have been
probably,
recently delisted.
probably. I mean, we still have Carlos Matos memes going around 10 years
Right.
later.
Yeah, so I mean, here's the thing, right? Like I scams are bad. Like it's a horrible thing. People lose a lot of money, but I think there is a way to kind of flip it. Like let's say somebody released a scam on PulseChain. Matter of fact, I know people have educated me that there have been influencers that have come to PulseChain, released their own thing, and but what I will say is look at the bright side of that, even though it's fucked up and it's horrible, maybe they brought some people with them when they came to Post Chain that ended up staying, even though they got rugged or scammed. Like maybe they were now in the ecosystem and started looking into other things to try to make their money back. Like I try to be an optimist,
Me
but
too.
obviously I'm not condoning scams or anything, but I do think that there is some of what I just laid out happening where an outside influencer will come in, bring some of their following with them, launch a token, rug, and some of those people still end up staying on Pulse Chain.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'm trashing celeb coins, like I wouldn't invest in one on PulseChain, but I wouldn't necessarily be mad if Logan Paul came over and dropped a shit coin over here.
Because yeah, it's eyes, it's attention.
Yeah.
And even though it would be negative on him, I don't know if that necessarily reflects negatively on Pulse Chain. That's a metric I don't know how to measure.
What do you think about NFTs?
I so I generally was always kind of against them, not in the sense that I viewed anything wrong with them. I just always believed in my core that you could make more money putting your investments in crypto. I felt like they were somewhat unproven. I felt like crypto was a more solid investment, and there's that risk of parking your money in an NFT and then watching ETH go up, which is ultimately what happened. I've invested in one NFT, and it was I my initial investment turned into something crazy, and then now it's worth almost nothing, and I never sold. And I look at the ETH value of what I paid for these things versus the ETH value now, and it makes me want to throw up. So
I mean,
I was right.
what do you mind saying which one it was?
There was a kid called Beast.
Huh. Because I only
There
know
were like
three of them that really like it was Bored Apes and Punks and like maybe Pudgy Penguins. But it's like, how
so
are you
I
supposed to predict these? And they're so
right.
illiquid that yes, they might pump because they're on this auction market. Maybe they have like two sales and that go astronomically high, but then the next sale it's like back down below the floor.
So I actually worked with one of those companies in the early days before anybody knew who they were, and I had one and I ended up flipping it for a decent profit. But I don't count that as me investing, you know what I mean? I was given that to promote. So
Yeah.
but I try not to accept native things because I am very against pumping and dumping. I don't ever want to dump on a follower. So like, but something like that, it was so new. Like I didn't sell it right away. I sold it like almost a year later. But I generally only accept like USDT or ETH or Bitcoin or something that's unrelated because that way I have no financial involvement with the result of the marketing.
Yeah. NFTs are a tricky one. I think they could be useful in terms of a famous influencer dropping an NFT collection or a famous artist maybe dropping something on PulseChain, but I also find them not my preferred method to invest. You know, maybe I just don't understand it, but also it just seems way harder.
I'm not the type of person that really hates on stuff, and a lot of people get like um a different image of me on Twitter because a lot of the things I do are meant to be funny, right? So like if I shit on NFTs, it's meant to be like a joke more than like a serious opinion sometimes because I am a meme person, I'm a shit poster, I'm a troll, like that's how I started. So like if I'm posting negatively about something, it's usually just to try to like nudge somebody or make them laugh or whatever, like along those lines. I generally don't have anything against NFTs. Just personally for me, I don't believe it's a good vehicle for my investments.
Yeah, I'm not putting all my money in a monkey JPEG. I
But
mean,
here's the one thing I will say for the NFT guys out there. I think there will be a new cycle where that becomes a narrative again. I think we're kind of seeing some of them pumping right now. I'm obviously not in the trenches, so I don't know what's going on, but I've been hearing whispers of an NFT resurrection that's happening. And I think it's entirely plausible because as people come back into the crypto space with the recent Bitcoin action, a lot of them will probably go to what they know. And there were a lot of people that were into NFTs, and they could be coming back and bringing fresh capital and helping to pump some of these projects.
yeah, fresh capital is really what it's all about, right? You know, otherwise you're
Yep.
just like reallocating between liquidity pools, and it's kind of okay, but new money, new demand, NFTs. Well, that's one thing, but just what do you think about? I know DeFi slash utility coins had a big season in 2020. Do you think that's coming back this cycle?
Yeah, I think it's hard to rule out any major narrative that's already happened. Like another example would be gaming and the metaverse and stuff like that. Like, remember how big that was, and what you don't even hear about the metaverse at all anymore. It's like, but I
Decentraland.
do, yeah, I do think that some of these things like are cyclical in the sense that they will come back, just like in fashion, in the fashion world, like right now, we're seeing a lot of the baggy pants trend that was popular when I was growing up. Like, it's like things come back.
That's true. That's true. I'd like to see them come back because we have a lot of that DeFi stuff built on Pulse Chain already, but it has not gotten any love in terms of the price. They're useful protocols, but the price of these tokens is in the gutter.
Well, yeah, because I feel like Pulse Chain is fighting a double uphill battle, right? Because it doesn't have it's been gate kept. It doesn't have the proper eyes and recognition that it deserves. And then also, you're dealing with a market right now that the trend has been meme coins. So it's like you're not only are you fighting against the current meme coin narrative, which I think every chain is, but also you're fighting against the fact that you're kind of a newer upstart that doesn't have the adoption and recognition that a lot of these other chains have.
Yeah. I mean, what can we do? What can we do to punch out?
I think, and to quote CZ, which I've had my beefs with in the past, and I'm actually blocked by him for calling out Binance. But I think you just build, like just keep building, and obviously keep doing the marketing and onboarding and stuff like that, and, eventually you will get the recognition you deserve, but you kinda just have to put your head down and keep building.
What do you think about AI projects on crypto?
I love AI. I run a bunch of AI locally. I think it's fascinating. I interface with ChatGPT every single day. I think it's an amazing tool for a multitude of different uh workflows and things like that. I've yet to see a crypto project that where I really went, okay, that makes sense. Except for the ones that I will say do make sense are the ones that are doing distributed computing, like the miners, uh, Tau and Render. Like what they're doing is something that Richard actually proposed back in the day with
Yep.
CFD token. You're taking the hashing power of mining and using it for something productive other than just processing the blockchain. And basically, you're creating a decentralized computing network where people can rent computing power to perform machine learning or graphics processing and stuff like that. So I think those have real utility and I think it's really cool. Beyond that, a lot of these like AI assistant things like that, they just don't really make sense to me. I feel like you don't need a token for that. But I would love to see cool cutting edge AI things built on blockchain and be tokenized if that's called for, whatever. But I just right now I haven't seen much by way of innovation. It's more kind of just capitalizing on the AI narrative.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the AI projects do not need crypto at all, or it's simply just vaporware. It has nothing to do with AI. But I love all. I use AI myself. I mean, I use it for content creation, for ideas. It's basically my personal assistant. I think people, you can even use it to code. You can make blockchain
Yeah,
software using Anthropic and Claude AI and V0 and all this stuff. But you don't really need crypto for the distribution funnel because you can just pay for them in dollars with your credit card.
right.
So, what do you think about like uh, dead people, AI agents of people's obituaries that make them into like so it's like talk to your dead loved one. You can buy them as an NFT, and we scrape
I
their
think
likeness.
I think we're gonna see a lot of like more fringe stuff like that coming out as AI gets adopted more and more. Like you basically turn it into a representation of somebody that's not existing. Um, I don't necessarily have a feeling on it. My only fear with AI is when it becomes sentient and when it can be paired with an actual robot body. What happens then?
Hey man, we already had Goatius Maximus. That was a little taste.
Yeah, so generally speaking, I'm all for anything with AI except for using it for bad. Like, I think the technology is cool. I've actually trained a lot of my own AI. Like, I do a lot of image generation stuff. I have Laura's that I've trained on multiple images. I actually made one of Richard, which seems kind of creepy, but I was only doing it for memeing purposes. So now I
Wait,
have an
was that
AI.
the Twitter bot?
Huh?
Was that the Twitter bot that I see?
No, no. So this is a image generator. So I can create an image of Richard in his likeness doing basically anything I want. So now
Oh,
like
okay. I've been seeing you. I've been seeing those images circulating on Twitter.
yeah. So basically what it is I run a program called Forge. There's also another one called Automatic 1111 and the other one's uh Focus, Foocus. And I train Laura's for the different uh, models that they have. And basically, what it is you're teaching it to recreate photos that you've fed it. So I would give it like 20 pictures of Richard that I got off Google, and it would learn Richard's features and his face and all that. And now I can type Richard on a beach holding a soda, and it'll be him on a beach holding a soda.
I like that. I've seen those images and they are pretty realistic. And that is a good model, that Fucus one. I'm
Yeah.
familiar with that. Now there's some other guy that made some Twitter bot that's like a Richard Hart AI, and it's like a
Yeah,
reply
that
guy.
thing, oh my
It's
gosh,
not. I
dude,
don't. I
like
don't like it. That doesn't sound anything like Richard.
no.
Yeah,
I've gone to war with that thing. It's pointed at me, and it's in my replies almost every tweet, and, like, it's so condescending and just, like,
it's
I
like
don't
just
know,
no,
whoever
you're wrong. Like,
yeah, whoever made that needs to tweak it and make it a little bit more, like, positive and not so, like, patronizing
well,
because,
it doesn't even
like
sound like him. It's just like. But yeah, I
yeah, I
mean, there's
think
probably a better version that they can be made.
well, yeah, because like, if you're pushing to not, like, turn people off, like, that thing's turning off even people in the community. So, like, if you're turning off the community, you know it's gonna turn off somebody that's not even involved.
Yeah. Basically, he just sounds like an actually guy. Like he's always in my comments like,
That's yeah,
actually, it's just
that
you're wrong.
that's
It's like,
literally what it is. It's driving me nuts, like, and I know it's a robot, so I can't get mad, but I'm just like, "This is such a bad look."
yeah, yeah. Well, people are gonna try out all kinds of stuff. You got to throw some shit at the wall and see what
And
sticks.
that's why I haven't blocked it yet, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
such a strong, like, believer in AI that I do think it's cool and it's a really cool idea, but it just needs some tweaks to make it a little less actually.
It is so. It is basically that meme for sure. Hey, we've been talking for an hour, man. Is there anything you want to finish up with, or anything you want to shill?
Just chilling myself. At I'm Show Gates. You can see it right on the screen. I'm really only on Twitter. I have just for anybody listening, so you don't get scammed by an impersonator. This is my only Twitter. I will never ask you for money unless we're doing promotion together. And I do have a YouTube, even though I don't use it for anything beyond like trading tutorials and stuff like that, which is Show Gates Crypto. I don't have an Instagram and I don't have a Facebook. So if you guys see me on any of those platforms other than YouTube, it's not me and don't interact with them.
Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining the PulseChain community. We welcome you with open arms, and we value all your experience. Being 10 years in crypto. So appreciate you being around and just adding your value in whatever way you can.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you having me on and I love the work that you do.
Appreciate it, bro. Talk to you on the next one, everybody. Like and subscribe. I'll see you later.
Peace.